Welcome to Us Crazy Christians, where we uncover Christian myths and Bible misinterpretations with common sense Christianity. I'm your host, William E. Smith, and today we're going to talk about The Freaks Come Out at Night. Stick around. The rap group Whodini had a hit song back in 1985 called The Freaks Come Out at Night. I love that song. But because I was very young and immature, I had a completely different interpretation of that song than Jaleel originally meant when he wrote it. I thought the song was about odd and unique people like Michael Jackson. Now I know you're probably laughing at me right now, but let me explain myself. I was a church boy. Saving myself for marriage, I would just be in the house all day, reading my Bible, praying, binding and loosing demons all day, fasting. That was my world. Going to choir rehearsal. So I was kind of naive to the things of the world, and I did my best to come up with an interpretation of what the song was about. My understanding of a freak was a unique person, or at worst, somebody like a carnival sideshow person like Siamese twins or General Tom Thumb, etc. Which made sense to my young mind because they were odd and not generally accepted by society, so it made sense that those freaky people would only come out at night. I know you're still laughing. At the time, the biggest star in the world was Michael Jackson, and I heard somebody refer to him as a freak of nature. And so obviously, when Whodini was talking about freaks, it made sense you'd be talking about the biggest star in the world. Who wasn't talking about Michael Jackson back then? They also said you can never catch a freak without at least one glove. Michael Jackson was the first and only person I ever seen wear one glove. And he also said freaks always have zippers all over their shirts. Who had more zippers on their jacket back then than Michael Jackson? I knew Whodini was talking about MJ. I know you're still laughing at me, and it's understandable. But I want to say in my defense that I had friends who were just as naive as I was, and that made total sense to them also. So even some of you watching right now might not want to admit it, but you might have thought he was talking about Michael too. I'm ashamed to admit that it was probably years later before I realized that freaks were very sexual people and that a glove was a code name for a condom. And lastly, that Michael Jackson was probably the last person on Whodini's mind when they were writing those lyrics. But I bring this up because this is more evidence that we as people tend to see the world through a lens of how we are as opposed to how life really is. And it's important, I think, that we realize that because in my personal life, I know that I have wounded many people. I have caused many wounds. I have caused many misunderstandings and arguments and conflicts because I saw the other person or the world around me through a filter of my own beliefs, religion, things people told me, how I lived my life, assuming that how William is must be how you are. And I'm saying in this video is because I know from all the years of constantly counseling people, like I do almost every day, that you probably doing the same thing too. But once we realize that a lot of things we see and how we react and respond to people could be biased, could be based off of a filter, some kind of blind spot in us because of how we were raised, what somebody told us, etc., then it will cause us to be more cautious, more compassionate, more loving, more understanding towards other people around us, even towards ourselves. As I begin to grow and get wiser and learn from my mistakes, I began to realize that the same way I misunderstood Whodini, that same kind of misunderstanding flowed into how I read the Bible, how I understood the Bible, how I understood God. It was based off of things I heard the preacher say, things my praying grandmother said, things some bishop I liked on the radio said. And I valued them and I had that filter and it became believable and ingrained into me so that even when I began to find things about the Bible that were true or oppose what I was told or the filter that I had grabbed a hold to, I somehow in my mind forced what I read about the Bible or about God to conform to the filters that I had placed in my life. And I realized that a lot of people do that same thing right now, that I'm not alone on an island. I talk to people all the time. I'll show them scriptures, evidence that what they believed was wrong. That is incorrect. That is out of context. That is absolutely not what Paul meant, not what Daniel meant, not what Jesus meant. It's clear and evident, but because this truth that I'm representing or that I'm presenting to you opposes what your praying grandmother said, what Bishop so-and-so told you, what you believed because of your personal experiences in life based off of how you were raised, how you see the world, you overlook the common sense truth that I can present to you. And the reason I never get upset about that is because I understand that. I did that many, many years myself. And I'm sure I still have blind spots right now that I'm working on as we speak. Examine yourself. Is it possible that you have filters as well? Filters that hinder how you see yourself, how you see people, how you see the Bible, how you see God. I continually meet people, Christians, who have opinions of God that more closely resemble Greek mythology. Gods like Odin or Loki. Stuff they saw on TV that has filtered how they read the Bible, how they feel about God. I think that we can even have opinions about marriage or relationships based off of misunderstandings. Kind of like the misunderstanding I had about the freaks come out at night. If we seek truth in life, we should always be aware of possible filters that can blind us to the truth. Freaks come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, but what I like about them most is that they're real good lovers. They do it in the park, they do it in the dark, but most freaks are known for breaking hearts. You can never tell what a freak is thinking of, but you can never find a freak without at least one glove. When they walk, when they step, they strut. 9 times out of 10, they drive you nuts. Take my advice, you don't stand a chance. Freaks are so bad, they got their own dance. If you want to live a nice, quiet life, do yourself a favor, don't come out at night, cause the freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night, ha ha ha. The freaks come out at, the freaks come out. The freaks come out at night. If you want to see more from us crazy Christians, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you're a returning guest and haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. Plus hit the notifications bell to be notified every time we post a new video. Thanks for watching us crazy Christians. Until next time, be blessed.